we held above it, but today it seems like plus we have a bearish Marubozu pattern, a support level, right? And if we were to stay above this level, so a little bit shaky, I would say, in the short term as well, even though over the past few weeks we have seen weakness in the markets due to political uncertainty and also the mega cap tech stocks selling down. So the Singapore banks have sold off as well after hitting to a new multi-year high. So where are we right now? Based on this weakness, are there any opportunities to get in at a discount? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier MyZeal, trader in Phillip Securities, and in today's video, I'll be talking about the three Singapore local banks, right? DBS, OCBC and UOB. So if you want to know what to do right now, if you should be holding, should be getting out, maybe you should be thinking about getting in near certain support levels as well, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end as I'll be diving into the charts for each of them, explaining to you what has happened, what is happening right now, and what are some of the key levels to actually take note. So let's go. Okay, so this is DBS right here, trading at about 35.98. So I did a coverage on the banks about a month back when we were actually consolidating right below this level, right up here around that $36 to $36.20. So there's a bit of a resistance level. You can see we were actually consolidating up and down from May all the way to June. As it swings up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So just moving sideways, right? And finally, somewhere around 2nd of July, right, we broke this very key resistance at about $36 to $36.20, and that's where I covered it. I think it started to move all the way up until it hits near our target at about that $38 to $39, right? So over the past weeks, the market has weakened and we have since retraced lower. So what is it right now? How is it looking like? So you can see that for DBS, essentially we want to look at what we call the longer term trend first. So DBS has been in what we call a bit of a longer term uptrend just by looking at it from a 1 to 2 years outlook. And when has the longer term trend actually really started? Well, it started right over here. So let me go ahead to do a quick recap. You can see somewhere over here I've drawn this very key resistance level. So I mentioned this in the previous video as well, this $30. We were actually capped below this $30 since like 2023. All right, we touched and we came down, neared it, came down. Finally over here, somewhere in March, right? In March, and when we covered that as well, all right, in March, we broke above the very key psychological resistance level, the $30 resistance level. And when that happened, you could see that the short-term trend, which is represented by the 20 days moving average line, this green line right over here, you can see it started to slope up. So it breaks resistance with the 20 days moving average line sloping up. Great, right? That's where I started to rally all the way up. We covered it as well. Of course, clients of mine in Phillip Securities were alerted to it as well by WhatsApp, all right, and started to move up. And that was pretty much the short-term trend. We look at the 20 days moving average. For the longer-term trend, right, as I mentioned, we were actually consolidating below that $30. So in terms of the longer-term trend, it was a bit of a sideways movement, since August, July last year, all the way until March this year, because you can see that the 100 days moving average line, even though it is above the blue line, the 200 days moving average. So the red above the blue, that's a good thing, but you can see both of them are pretty much moving sideways, only until we broke that $30 or maybe even $31. When you look down, you can see that both the red and the blue line both started to slope up gently. All right, so let's take a look at where we are right now. You can see that the 100 days moving average line, this red line, is still above the blue line, and both of them are still pointing up, right? So in terms of the longer term trend, I think it's still pretty okay, all right? We might be seeing a bit of short-term weakness, but in the longer term, it still looks like a pretty good uptrend whereby buyers might start to come back at certain support levels, right? So let's take a look at the short-term trend right now, since I've mentioned about the 20 days moving average. You can see right over here, somewhere in June, I mentioned we saw a little bit of a consolidation, so we started to see this 20 days moving average line, the short-term trend, right, started to move sideways, correct? Which is correct, because as we consolidate, that's where you can see the short-term trend moving sideways. Is a short-term sideways consolidation until we broke that resistance at about $36.20, $36. You can see started to push up, and that was the 20 days moving average line started to slope up and up. But over the past 1 to 2 weeks, how is the short-term trend looking right now? Well, you can see that the 20 days moving average line has started to like flatten out a little bit, and if you can see right now, we are actually starting to slope down. Look at this green line, this 20 days moving average green line. It is sloping down, right? So are there signs of the short-term trend turning down right now, as of now? Yes, the answer is yes, because you can see prices have gone below the 20 days moving average, and this green line has started to slope down. So it looks a little bit more bearish. And today, look at this. So this is today right now. I mean, it's 1st of August, and you can see that we are actually seeing a pretty bearish candle. This is what we call like a bearish Marubozu, whereby it opens somewhere near day high or the day high, and sellers comes back and this starts selling down, and of course the market has not closed now. It's like 4:30 p.m. All right, the market has not closed yet, but based on this bearish candle right here, you can see that we have kind of like broke this $36.20. As I mentioned, right, 36.20 was where we were trading below somewhere in June. You can see we sold off kind of like a reversal candle here. We sold off. Finally, we broke above it. We held above it here. We held above it here. But today, it seems like we are below $36.20. Plus, we have a bearish Marubozu pattern whereby, you know, if we were to close below 36.20 or maybe below $36, it doesn't look that strong. I would say in the short term, we might see some short-term weakness. But you know, to where, right? To where can we start to see some bargain hunting or some buying pressure coming back again? Well, I would say that we can take a look at the next support level, which is somewhere. Let's take a look, right? So somewhere over here, we might see another support level. I think somewhere around here. Look at this, right? So that would be around that $35, so around 35 to maybe $35.30. You can see somewhere over here. That's where we started to see some bargain hunting coming back somewhere in May to June, right? So downside could be all the way to like maybe 35 to 35.30, 35.40, 35.50, somewhere over here. And you can see that's also where the 100 days moving average line is, right? So normally when we head to the next support level, we want to see some signs of at least the short-term trend stabilizing. All right, stabilizing, maybe you might see some bullish reversal candles. It consolidates a little bit above that, you know, lower support level, and hopefully, right, it consolidates and it starts to, you know, push up again, and that's where potentially we can see that reversal happening. So they have to rush. I think right now we may see some short-term weakness, as I explained, but if it dips to certain support levels like maybe the 35, or if the 35 were to break down, so we may hit to like 34 as well, right? So we don't want to rush. We want to wait for it to hit to that level, stabilize for a few days, check out the candlestick patterns that you can see over there, and check out to see if the short-term trend has turned up as well. All that can guide us to, in terms of getting in again, to ride the reversal. So that is for DBS. Let's check out what it says for OCBC right now. If you like this video, you found some value so far, go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe button. That will really help out the channel. Follow as well. Thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate that. Right. So let's go ahead to take a look at OCBC right now, trading at about $14.84 today on the 1st of August. Right. So you can see for OCBC, same thing like DBS. We've started to see strength since like the beginning of the year. It's a bit more of a gentle uptrend for OCBC. You can see that we were actually trading below this very critical like $13, right, resistance level since last year. You can see we came down, near it, came down, and finally somewhere in March again we broke that $13, right? And I've covered it in my YouTube videos as well. That is where the uptrend really started. It started to push from like 13 to 14 to 15, and then the short-term trend turned up as well. So that was a very key level in terms of it turning into a very firm uptrend. But over the past 2 to 3 months, as we traded up, you can see that there is some selling coming back, right? About 3 weeks back, near that $15 and about 40 cents, $15 to 50 cents, 15.40, right over here. You can see you saw a couple of bearish reversal candles, and this selling actually happened. So right now we are making our way down, all right, and let's take a look at the short-term trend. So the longer-term trend, as I mentioned, right, it's been up just by looking at the 100 days and the 200 days moving average. So both of these two lines, you can see both are pointing up. The red is above the blue, so it looks like a pretty good longer-term uptrend, right? But the short-term trend, you can see it was up. In May, it started to move a little bit sideways, which is correct because we are actually consolidating for about a month, right? And finally, we broke above it on 2nd of July. You can see the 20 days moving average line started to slow up. So quite similar to, I would say, DBS in terms of breaking a resistance level, and the short-term trend turned up and we started to push up. But right now, let's take a look at it, right? Price is about $14.84. And you can see, right, over the past week, we have actually gone down or gone below the green line. We have gone below the 20 days moving average line. So you can see right now that this 20 days moving average line, I mean, for DBS, it was like slightly sloping down. For OCBC, I would say it is even more slightly sloping down. I would say maybe flat to down a little bit, right? But the fact that prices have gone below the green line, it just looks a little bit shaky, right? So this was a short-term trend, probably not down like compared to DBS. DBS, because as I mentioned, we saw a bearish Marubozu, we broke a key support. That's why you want to be a bit more careful. But for OCBC, it is likely a bit more bearish in terms of the short-term trend. But you can see right now that we are still actually holding above that support level. What is the support level? Well, that is this level right over here, somewhere around that $14.50. So you can see since May, we have been trading below $14.50 until we broke it on the 2nd of July. So this resistance level would now turn into what we call a support level, right? And if we were to stay above this level, hopefully that support holds. That is potentially where we can see a bit of a rebound happening, maybe all the way up to the same $15.50. So that could be like a $1 from $14.50 to $15.50 kind of like upside targets range if we were to stay above that $14.50 support level. So let it consolidate first. I think over the past week it seems like we are seeing some slight resistance at about 15, so $15. So $15.50 is like kind of like the high. We have neared it and came down. But over the past 1 week, $15 seems to be a bit of a psychological resistance level as well. We can't seem to get above it. It seems like sellers are just pushing prices down. So it might hit down maybe to like $14.50, stabilize a little bit. Hopefully we see some bullish reversal candles near there. The short-term trend starts to turn back up again. That could lead the reversal as well. So let's move on to the third and final stock today, and that would be UOB. And by the way, guys, if you want to know exactly when to get in and get out, how do you actually pick winning stocks, how do you time your entry to get in at certain areas of a higher probability of winning, check out one of those webinars, right? I'll just place the link below this video somewhere. Click on it, register for a free webinar where I share with you guys a little bit more on how to pick some winning stocks like this. So today in this video, I don't have time to explain the entire one good trend strategy. So you can find out more, go ahead to attend a free webinar. The link is right below. So let's dive into UOB. Right now, you can see we are trading at about $32. In fact, we are right at this support level right now as I'm talking, right? So this $32 would be a key psychological support level. Resistance wise, you can see that we are seeing selling near that $33.50 about 3 weeks back. You can see we were trading below it, and then sellers just came back and pushed it down, right? So $33.50 would be a psychological resistance level to watch, right? So somewhere over here in May and June, you can see it was pretty much moving up. The trend turned a little bit sideways, and then right over here, you can see we broke this 31, right? I think that was where the day whereby OCBC and even DBS broke that key resistance as well. So I think same thing for UOB. We have broken that $31 resistance while the 20 days moving average line started to slope up. So you can see it started to push up from 31 to 33.50. Not too bad, right? We covered it in the video, in the previous video. It went up by about, I would say, 7%, and that's where some selling happened. So let's take a look at the longer term trend. So longer term trend for UOB, same thing. For DBS and OCBC, we kind of like broke above a very key level. Same thing for UOB. We were trading below this very key resistance, the $29, right? So I've mentioned it in my previous video about a month back. Now this $29 is a very key resistance. We've been trading below since like 2022. A couple of times it just touched, came down, and finally here in just last month on the somewhere in April, right? Somewhere in April, we broke above it. All right, broke above this level, whereby the short-term trend turned up, the longer-term trend started to turn up as well. So that was where it really sparked the whole move in the banks, all right, and the UOB was kind of like playing a little bit of a catch-up for like OCBC and DBS. They kind of like move up starting in March already, right? But UOB, started to play catch-up, started to push up as well, and that was like last month, as mentioned, we broke another resistance at about $31, right? So where can we potentially see some, weakness, or where can some bargain hunting come back again? Well, over the past, I would say, a month, all right, we have found a little bit of support. You can see that's where we've traded above, rebounded. Past week as well, we were holding above this $32. So $32 would be what we call a support level in terms of a psychological level. But if we were to break it, that's where we may potentially head to the stronger support level. And what would that level be? Well, that level would be that $31. As I mentioned, right, $31 since May, April, June. We were trading below it, right? We're trading below it for like about 2 months, and we broke above it. So this resistance will now turn into what we call a support level, right? So my take is that, today it is still unclear, all right, if we are staying above. Right now it's like 32.01, so it's like very near the $32. I mean, I'm not too sure exactly where it will close today, but if it actually closes below 32, like if it closes 31.9 something, 98 or 95 or 90 cents or something, right, then you want to be a bit more careful. It means that this $32 support that we've been holding for the past week, it seems like it's a bit shaky. It seems like sellers are pushing it down below the support level. Then we may potentially hit towards the $31 support, which I think would be much stronger, because that was a very key resistance level we've been trading below since May and June, and it has now turned into a support level, right? Of course, the short-term trend you can see right now, 20 days moving average, the green line also started to point up, and it has flattened out, maybe slightly pointing down. So a little bit shaky, I would say, in the short term as well, even though the longer term trend is up. So when we see cases like this, normally you want to see some stability. We want to see it, stabilize above a support level, and more importantly, we want to see like some signs of the short term trend also, not just point down or not just becoming weaker. We want to see some signs of the short term trend at least stabilizing as well. So there we have it, guys. These are the 3 Singapore local banks, a very quick in-depth analysis for DBS, OCBC and UOB. So I hope now you have a better idea of where we are for each of the banks, what has happened over the past few weeks, why are we kind of like selling down, what are some of the support levels where potentially some bargain hunting can come back again, and you might want to put it back in your watch list again to write any potential reversal. If you want to understand a little bit more in terms of my one good trend strategy, whereby we pick winning stocks, when to get in, when to get out, make sure you attend one of those free webinars that I'm still running. The link is right below this video. Click on it, register for it, and I'll see you live, and that's where I'll share with you guys my entire one good trend strategy and a system that we have that guides us on entry and exit as well. So Joey here, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.